to the track, the wall, makes the leap, and makes the catch! Amazing catch by Junior!
He got it! A perfect game! 13 strikeouts!
And Bonds hits one high! It's in deep! It is out of here! 7:56!
What a special moment for Barry Bonds.
Swinging a long drive, deep to right, going, goodbye. He has done it. He has changed the game of the night with one swing of his bat.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Champions Adjust podcast. This is episode 34 of the Champions Adjust podcast. And in our infancy stages of this podcast, we are excited to have our second official guest on the pod, and it's a big one. So I'm going to hand it over to my co-host, Coach Bodzin. He's going to intro our guest, and then we're going to get rocking and rolling in what should be a fantastic, deep conversation about baseball, mindset, life, and everything in between.
Absolutely. Thank you, Aaron, and welcome everybody. Excited after a couple weeks off. Of course, life gets busy, so we try to be on here as often as possible. I want to welcome Shea Hillenbrand on the podcast. Thank you so much for being with us, Shea. Shea and I originally met because we're working on the APBPA, or also known as the Players Association, helping youth across the country in terms of baseball and other aspects as well. Getting that going, and Shea and I and Aaron are all very like-minded in terms of, baseball might not be the most important thing in the world, but it does help teach a lot of life lessons that can help us. And so life in general is what we really strive to teach. So Shea is a two-time Major League All-Star. Shea owned a zoo at one point. Love talking about that. But all around, just a good human being, and that's what we like to do, is talk to good human beings who have the right mindset towards life. So, Shea, thanks for joining today, man. Excited to have you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And if you hear my dogs barking in the background, I'm sorry. My house manager just got here, so they'll settle down real quick. But I'm super excited to be here, guys. Super excited to share, maybe help somebody out there with what they're going through, bring enlightenment on certain situations that they might go through in their life.
Shea, I have a question that I kind of want to kick this off with. And so I know that we're going to get deep into the stuff that you're doing currently, which is some brilliant work. You also played professional baseball for a really long time. And thinking about kind of both of those aspects of your life, would you say that your calling or your purpose is what you're doing now, or was it being a professional baseball player?
That's a great question. I've never had that asked, and I've been asked before, and I've been on a plethora of podcasts, and I don't look at it as a calling. I look at it as discovering who you are, and then taking who you are at that deeper level of what you discover into whatever you present yourself in. My first season of playing Major League Baseball, I came up from Double-A. I was the first guy going from Double-A to the major leagues for the Red Sox for 30 years. Don't know how I did it, but I just took advantage of opportunities with my mindset and my heart set. I'm kind of like a cleaner. If you talk to, Tim Grover stuff with Dwayne Wade or Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan, I'm like, I don't know what y'all are doing. I'm going to the big leagues, and I'm going to find a way to do that. And I'm just going to work harder than everybody else. But I was coming into the clubhouse during one of the games I wasn't playing my rookie season, and Dante Bichette was sitting at the table in the clubhouse in Boston at Fenway Park, and he's drawing blueprints for his house he's going to build. I'm like, this is the big leagues during the game. Guys are like drawing blueprints. This is like, it's the last year of his career. And I was like, this is kind of cool. So he says, come here, sit down, son. And I went over to the table real quick. And he says, you know what? This is going to be my last year playing. I'm going to watch you on TV. Like, you're going to be an amazing star in this league, and you're going to make $100 million. He's like, the last guy I said that's going to make $100 million is Todd Helton. And I got up from that table and I'm like, $100 million? Like, this is crazy. But I could never achieve that because I lost myself through the shuffle, and I struggled internally with the internal battles that I fought every single day playing Major League Baseball, and I didn't achieve that. So regardless of doing that or playing Major League Baseball or what I'm doing now, discovering who you are at such a deeper level and understanding gifts and talents that you might have that you don't know you have, and using those to help other people out, solve their problems, get unstuck, figuring out to where they need to go and being an asset to somebody else. Like that's the definition of success that I've defined with everything I've accomplished. I lived both my childhood dreams. So doing what I'm doing now, absolutely love it. I wake up every single day hungry to either learn or either present or able to share my experiences in my life of what I've been through to help other people equip themselves to be able to, combat and beat the challenges that they're going through and tap into a deeper version, because there's so many players out there right now, especially at the youth level, that are lumped in the 80 percentile. And you know what? If you want to go to the next level after high school, you have to separate yourself from the pack. And I can't separate myself from the pack if I am lumped in the 80 percentile, because colleges or pros want to be able to tap into that top 20%, top 15%, 10 or 5% of players out there right now at the youth level. So being able to separate yourself and being able to understand who you are and apply the knowledge that you're learning to be able to go to the next level is what's extremely important.
Real quick, what you're describing is commonly known as the 10-80-10 rule, right? Is what are you willing to do to get yourself out of the 80% and be on the top 10%? And it's work ethic, but it's more than work ethic, it's mindset. And we talked a lot about ego and pride and how that can really get in the way of separating yourself from the 80 and into the 10. Talk to us a little bit more about like how you separated yourself and kind of put that to the side to allow yourself to separate yourself back into that 10%.
Yeah, it's a great question, and thank you for asking that. I look back in college, and I didn't have anywhere to go after high school to play baseball. My childhood dream is to play baseball. I sat at the third deck of Dodger Stadium, had my nachos in one hand, my chocolate malt in the other hand, and had my best friend and my mom. We went to every single home game, and I said, I'm going to be down there someday. I'm going to be down there someday. I don't know what y'all are doing. I'm going to be down there someday. I didn't really care about getting autographs, getting foul balls, but I immersed myself into that situation to ingrain that visualization, because that's the one thing that we have that separates ourselves from everything else in our life is visualization. It's the number one tool we have. But so many kids have lost all touch of reality with visualization because their cell phone, everything's on their cell phone, everything's spoon-fed to them with information, with technology. Like it's insane. When I look on Instagram right now and I see so many of these hitters and so many coaches teaching hitting. I saw one right before I got on here talking about to separate yourself in the batter's box is keep that separation and that stretch and stay coiled and I'm like, I don't even know what the hell that means. Like, what does that mean? Like I have a PhD in this stuff. Like I'm one of the best. I have no clue what they mean. So now it's like I wanted to comment, but I didn't want to be negative because I'm not that guy. I want to be able to be an asset. I want to be a resource to help other coaches, to help other people out. So it's like, how can I get a kid that's a youth level, 18 under, to understand what these guys are saying when I can't even get them to take out the trash? I can't even get a kid to make a bed. And you're expecting to do the hardest thing to do in sports, period, is hit a baseball and make it super uber technical? It's not possible. It clutters their mind and it gets confusion. And the byproduct of that is low self-confidence. So what we're doing is sending these kids to the plate every single day with almost zero self-confidence. And when they don't come through, they beat themselves up. I suck. I'm no good. I'm an idiot. I can't do it. Johnny's doing it. All those other guys can do it, but I can't do it. So what did I do? When I walked on at the junior college, I was the first guy there, the last guy to leave every single day. Every chance I was able presented to, I took ground balls. Every chance I had, I was throwing the ball against the wall. Every chance I had, I was in the batting cage getting my reps in, mastering the little things. I have the goosebumps right now because it's the truth. And if you say the truth and you believe in it, that's the highest way you could operate from and exert energy. And people feel that, right? It's like, okay, you have to get in the batting cage and master hitting off the tee. That's level one. That's it. If you want to become a two-time All-Star or super successful in the major leagues, master hitting off the batter's tee. That's level one. But they don't want to do that because they don't know how to focus. They don't know how to focus because they're going here. And if they're going there and they don't have focus when they come to the ball field, now the coaches are yelling at them, demanding them to do things by getting coil and separation and stretch and like, what are you talking about? You put a ball on the tee, have them hit a line drive at the middle, and repeat that same thing over and 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 over again. Every swing is different. As you said, I own the zoo. One of my favorite animals is a zebra. There's no two zebras that have the same zebra stripes. That's what makes them unique. There's no two people that have the same fingerprints. That's what makes us unique. I've never seen two people my whole career from T-ball to the top of the world playing baseball have the same swing. Why are we teaching the same swing? Teach the technique of get in the batting cage, hit off the batter's tee. Master that. And then go to level 2. Level 2 might be front toss. I take it 5 strides in front of the hitter, and I'm doing front toss. But once I go to front toss, I'm incorporating timing. And then once I incorporate timing, I better have my mechanics sound. And the only way you get your mechanics sound is through dry swings and through the batter's tee, where you don't incorporate timing. They don't do that because there's no instant gratification with that. They think that's just for little leaguers. I think that's just for T-ballers. And what happens is they don't master level 1. They want to go to level 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 because PG, perfect game, demands this. I get these ratings, this, and get that. These college coaches are looking for this. These recruiters are over here demanding this. And these pro scouts, like, it's insane. Like, it's asinine. Like, what are we doing? So if we don't master level 1, we can't go to level 2. And if we don't master level 2, we can't go to level 3, which might be machine pitch, hitting off curveballs, which might be coach pitch. But they don't want to hit off the tee and master that. They don't want to do front toss and master that. They want to go to the Rapsodo, see exit velo, see velo, how hard they throw, because they're measuring matrix. That's one specific instance, one specific scenario to where you're measuring a matrix, right? So it's like, okay, my exit velo was 89. That was one time. What happens the other 100 times that you're swinging the bat? How do you keep that consistent? Is by mastering the little things. You want to become successful? You want to separate yourself? Master the little things. You want to make major money? Do you want to make the best podcast? Master the little things. That's doing those things and creating confidence, right? So I had exuberant amount of confidence when I walked to the plate in college. Why? Because confidence comes from competence. Competence comes from doing something over and over and over again the right way. How do I do something over and over and over again the right way when I don't have specific focus when I come to the ballpark because I have a cell phone feeding into me every single day, creating a generalized focus? So now if I don't do something over and over again the right way because I don't have focus, the coaches are trying to get them to do their swing. Now the coaches are saying do this and do this and do this, which isn't even the kid's swing. Now the kids can't focus. He can't repeat, and the coach keeps telling him to do something over and over again the coach's way because he saw it on Instagram or he saw it on YouTube or he sees Judge or he sees Trout or he sees Soto, which I can't even do their swings because they are superhuman. So now the kids beat themselves up. So at the end of the day, you want to get self-confidence. You want a kid to get self-esteem because this game, you have to give reciprocity to the game. You fail so much. You have to love the game. So me as a coach or me as a mentor or me as a speaker, we have to stir up interest. We have to create hunger. How do you create hunger for the game for the kids? Get them to understand what the flip they're doing. Give them simple processes to focus on to shift their focus from a generalized focus to a specific focus. And now they can repeat hitting off the tee over and over and over again the right way every single day, their way. So now if they do it their way, and now they can use me as a resource, what happens from there is that they're going to get self-confidence, they're going to gain understanding, and they're going to excel, and that's how they separate themselves from the pack. I went to big league camp as a minor leaguer, and I was in the shower with Pedro Martinez. And I'm like, oh my gosh, man, this is like one of the most intimate situations you can get in with one of the all-time greatest Red Sox player. Like, it's Pedro Martinez. I'm naked, he's there. I'm like, this is insane. And he says, hey, son, I watched you when I walked in off the field from you were taking batting practice. He says, when they threw the ball inside, you hit it left field because I hit right-handed. When they threw the ball down the middle, you hit it to center field. When they threw the ball away, you hit it to right field. He says, that is a very, very difficult hitter to face. Now I can't throw you a strike. Now you take away my number one pitch and my number two pitch. Now I have to go off your game plan because my game plan, you're going to win. So he says, let me tell you this, son. The way you get to the top is not how much you learn. Stop watching the gurus hitting. It's not how much you learn. It's how quickly you learn it is what gets you to the big leagues and separates yourself from the pack. So why do I say that? I learned how I swung the bat. I learned what made Shea Hillenbrand tick. I learned what made Shea Hillenbrand ticked off. I learned how to make the adjustment that I need to make. I learned my weaknesses. How did I do that? By getting in the batting cage and taking swing after swing after swing. After all my teammates went in for dinner, after all my teammates during spring training or during the season went out and drank at night, I was in the batting cage mastering it. I didn't have a camera. I didn't have the matrix. I didn't have the algorithms. I didn't have the exit velo. I didn't have the launch angle. I had my mindset. And once you control that mindset, that's what separates you from the pack. But you're not going to be able to control your mindset and master the mindset if you don't keep that hunger inside your heart. These coaches nowadays are taking away that hunger because they're making it extremely confusing for the kids. And when the kids are confused, they have a lack of self-confidence. And what are they going to do? Should I go hit off the tee or should I go mess around on this? They're going to choose this 100% of the time. So I have to break it down and make it super simple for a kid to implement a strategy, a system, or a process to go out there, because I know I'm battling with instant gratification. So I have to be able to get a kid to understand and have instant success with their swing in order for them to stir up that hunger and be able to go out there and work more and more and more. I took delight in the discipline it took to go out there and rock it every single day in the batting cage. I never took delight. I never took pride in the results I was having, because that result's not going to come tomorrow. That result might not even come the next swing. That result's not going to come in 10 swings. So I took pride and I gained my self-confidence and the discipline it took on the times where I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go out there every day. I didn't want to work every day. But I told myself, no, we're going to work regardless if you like it or not. And that's how you separate yourself from the pack.
So there's a lot of things that you just said that we could break down. First thing I want to talk about is, as human beings, we can train three things, right? We can train our body, our craft, and our mind. So specifically craft in this regard is baseballs, right? So we can train our body, we can train our skills as a baseball player, we can train our mind. I think people focus on the craft and the body, and they leave the mind to chance. And so, of course, to reach any sort of elite level like yourself, Shea, or a Division I baseball player, you have to be skilled at the thing that you're doing. That's paramount, right? That's number one. That's what you're talking about. You're saying repetition, repetition. Get really, 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 really good at the thing you're trying to be good at. But if you integrate that at the same time, not 10 months down the road, not when you make it to the major leagues where they have a sports psychologist, just at the same time, you're integrating that with a proper mindset, then you're exponentially increasing that skill acquisition, because you're believing, you're enhancing, you're visualizing, you're thinking about it. And so instead of training body and craft and then leaving mind up to chance, you're training body, craft, mind as an integrated system to help you enhance the way that you acquire skills quickly, as you said, to reach the next level faster. And so I think that's important when talking about youth sports. And then another thing that's important is that sports are a vehicle to find out who you are. That's what they are, right? Because most people don't make it to a place in sports where they make money for the rest of their life. You're trying to figure out who you are. You're trying to figure out what is the edge of my capacity, and sports allow you to get to that edge. But most of the time in sports, we don't realize that we've acquired all of these skills based on doing this really hard thing. And so then we wrap our identity around it. And then when we try and go do something else, we don't think we can take those same skills that we had in this sport into other areas of our life. And so I think also teaching kids that, like, this is a vehicle for you to develop all of these skills that will enhance every part of your life. And so allowing you to get to the edge of your capacity and thinking about those sorts of things as a body, craft, mind integration, and then wrapping your identity around who you're being, not what you're doing, is sort of a distinction that you can make along the journey. And then I think what's also important is discussing this, like what you experienced, sort of the dark side of trying to become the best in the world at something. And it's perfectly related to youth, because parents absolutely do not think about this when they're trying to force their kid to be the best in the world at something. Do you really want them to be the best in the world at something? Do you know what that comes? That comes with an obsessive sort of nature where lots of things have to get sacrificed. Things have to go by the wayside, family time, friend time. There's a lot of money, time investment that have to be made. You have to think about all of these factors when investing in something. And so it goes back to one of your original points about if you're not actually in love with the game, then it does just become this like very, very difficult grind that you feel like you're being forced to do. But if you want to show up every day, if you've integrated these skills, if you've made this thing the thing that you want to do while focusing on your mindset and extrapolating some of these strengths into other areas of your life, then you sort of become this well-rounded person. But there's still an aspect of you that is that because you're trying to become really good at something and you have to sort of have an obsession towards that. But regardless of how long that lasts, it will end. And then like yourself, Shea, you can take some of these skills outside of that. You can extrapolate some of those skills and then teach and then coach and then speak and present this stuff so other people can learn the lessons that you had to learn in a very, very, very challenging, hard way. And so those are my quick thoughts on that.
Yeah, that's amazing. And the first thing is that how do you know what to work on in your swing if you don't know your swing?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you're talking about. A lot of these kids, when they go, at the end of the day, guys, what we're trying to seek, regardless of what we do, is a feel. How do I feel? And a lot of these kids don't feel good about themselves, and they want that instant result. They want that instant gratification. They're trying to wrap themselves around that because they're seeking that feel.
Mm-hmm.
But if you take pride in the process of what it takes to get that ultimate feel consistently, then you set yourself on a different journey and a different trajectory of what you're really capable of trying to achieve. And you talked about the parents trying to put pressure. The parents are going through the same challenges as the coaches are. The coaches are going through the same challenges as the players are. A lot of these coaches out there nowadays, 45% of coaches are bullies. They did a test and a study of 100 coaches, and 80 coaches didn't have the mental fortitude or the ability to communicate to the players because they're lost. And the parents are lost. They lost out on their dreams. They're trying to do the right thing for their kids, and they're falling victim to this too. And they're trying to figure out their way in life as well as a parent, because it's hard to be a parent. I have 5 kids, and hitting a baseball is a heck of a lot easier than being a parent, man. I thought I was losing my hair to play baseball. But I'm losing my hair because my darn kids, man, they drive me crazy, because it's like, how do I know? Like, I'm trying to set you guys up for success, but I don't know anything about baseball, right? Like, so I fall in that same hole as other parents try to teach their kids, even though what I did, it doesn't matter. So we're all in this area right here with the trifecta of a parent that's trying to do the best thing for their kids, and then the industry is demanding them financially to pour so much into it, whether it's PG tournaments or whether it's training or whether it's club teams or whatever, or extra training or whatever it is, like hitting. There's so much money being dumped into it every single month that it becomes inherently a financial stress on the family, and that comes out to the kids. It's like, dude, why didn't you show up today? Why didn't you try today? Why aren't you focusing? Why aren't you getting the results? Well, they ain't getting the results because of this. If you want to talk about it, it's this. And until we do social media mitigation, and until we do cell phone management, nothing we teach out there is going to make a dent on what these kids do. These kids hit the phones 176 times a day, at least. And when they hit the phone and their phone bings and dings and goes off, their heart rate goes to 160. I was just in a gym this morning and I was doing cardio and I couldn't even get above 150. Their heart rate's going to 160 every time their phone's going off. And then when they can't get to their phone, if their phone goes off, it goes to 160 plus. So what does that mean? They're getting that dopamine hit 176 times a day, all day long, and they can't find anything to replace that because their dopamine's been drained. They're numb. And how many times do you see a kid that comes out to the field that's just like they don't even know what's going on? Like they can't even focus. It's because of the phone. But the parents are letting the kids take the phones to bed with them. The parents they're not monitoring that stuff. I mean, they're doing like there's guys that have been drafted that are 18, 19, 20 years old, and they're getting messages from girls, like 150 of them a day, with naked pictures of minor girls. How do these guys manage that stuff at 18 and 19 when the parents are trying to get them to the PG tournaments and they're getting this pressure here and they're trying to get them drafted, trying to get them to D1, trying to do all this stuff, and now they get that opportunity. And if one player even entertains a text through a minor female that's sending him naked pictures boom, now he's labeled as a sex offender. Now he's labeled screwed up. Like his whole life screwed up. Like, how do we do it? Like where are we at? We could try to teach all the lessons we want with baseball. We could try to present the opportunity to go out there and learn how to fail and navigate failure. But none of that matters if we're fighting against this every single day. So until we get this under control, until we educate the kids, I don't know what it's like because I didn't grow up with this. I could have understanding. I could have empathy. I could have understanding with the players. And that's where I get frustrated with the coaches across the board at youth level because they don't get it. They're fighting the same battle inherently. They're not showing up as a good husband. They're not showing up as a good father at home. They're going to the bar, hanging out with the boys. They're going to do promiscuous stuff. They're going to do something to distract them. And then they go to the ball field. And then when they go to the ball field because they like the game, they might even like the kids, but they like the game. And then from there, they yell at the kids because this is my position to be authoritative figure because I hate who I am. Inherently, I don't like myself inside. So I'm going to make myself feel good by being the authoritative figure in this environment because I'm the head coach. This is my program at a high school, or this is my program at a club program. If you don't like it, go somewhere else. How is that going to help out a kid when we should be talking about this? Us coaches, us mentors, Oprah said it best, guys. If you got to work harder on yourself than you do your job. The internal game is the greatest battle I ever fought. I'm in charge of filling myself up and keeping myself full every single day. The Shea Hillenbrand you see right now was not the Shea Hillenbrand that was playing Major League Baseball. When I went to the field, the stadium, each and every night, I had a fielding coach. I had a throwing coach. I had a hitting coach. I had a videographer analyzing every movement on the field that I could break down frame by frame by frame. I had a strength coach. I had a sports psychologist. They don't have sports psychologists. That's just a cover up for organizations. We're going to talk about that. I have an orthopedic surgeon. I have a chef. I have a masseuse. I have everything I ever wanted. Strength coach. I have trainers, all that stuff. Everything to work on Shea Hillenbrand, the performer. But when I left the field each and every night, when I left the stadium, I was the most empty person ever. I hit a game-winning home run off of Mariano Rivera at Fenway Park, the first Red Sox player to do that. I'm rounding first base, the ground is shaking. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just did the unimaginable. I felt like David beating Goliath. Like this was one of the defining moments of my career. People still talk about it. And the last time I played was 2007. And all my friends went out that night and partied and celebrated with arguably the best fans of baseball. So Red Sox fans are absolutely amazing. I wish I would have played. You can see my smile on my face. I wish I would have played my whole career there, but I didn't suit. I wasn't a good teammate. I was a cancer at the clubhouse. Everybody else went and celebrated. What did I do? I went home, straight home, because I was empty. When I woke up the next day, that pain inside myself was still there. That pain because I was empty. That pain because of stories I told myself at 14 years old. I'm not lovable, I'm not good enough, and my dad doesn't love me. That pain of not having an identity. That pain of being a lost soul, a lost kid that loved baseball so much that after supper I'd eat real quick and I go hit off the batter's tee every single night in high school. I go throw the ball against the wall or hit a ball off a tee to train my skill sets because I had a vision in my head and a dream in my heart of playing Major League Baseball. That kid that loved baseball, that was his out. See, the love of my game of baseball ultimately became my out, my escape of my internal world of hell. The greatest battles I ever fought, guys, was not underneath the lights in front of 40,000 with ESPN, Stephen A. Smith talking crap about me to get ratings, the popcorn, the fans in New York, all that stuff. I could beat that easily. The greatest battles I ever fought were the internal battles of identity, of what you're talking about, of not knowing who the heck I am outside of what I did. Where does that come from? That comes from your perspective of how you view the world. So your perspective of how you view the world comes from your belief system, your identity, your truth of where you operate from. And the truth of where you operate from comes from experiences in your life. And not just the experiences, because those experiences could be interpreted and communicated differently from the three of us. I have two older brothers, and my experience and how I interpreted my experience as a kid was 100% different from my brothers. My dad doesn't love me. I'm not lovable. I'm not good enough. I'm going to make major success because if I just hit this thing here, if I just fly these private jets and make these, I made $20 million. And if I just have this success here, then I'll be good enough for my dad. So if you want to break it down and strip back the layers of onion, that's what we're truly dealing with, because these kids don't feel worthy. That's their only escape of their world of hell outside of the baseball field, because they have to deal with the challenges at school. They have to deal with the challenges of society. They have to deal with the challenges of navigating, like the cognitive thinking of kids. A 14-year-old kid, his cognitive thinking is 2 years behind. What's cognitive thinking? How I retain information and bring in information and process it and maintain it and keep it. Like they're 2 years behind because of this. What does that do to their identity? When a coach is out there saying, scap load, come here, do it. Like, what are you talking about? We need a kid to be able to repeat something over again the right way, just so he can get competence. You can't get competence by teaching all this crazy stuff. You get competence by breaking it down at a third grade level. So if you pull back the layer of the onion, how many of these kids think they're the worthless piece of crap in the world because they're trying to do everything they can on the baseball field, and the pressure they put on themselves because they know inherently how much financial stress is putting on their parents. But the thing is, the parents are coddling the kids and enabling the kids and trying to protect them from this evil world that we're living in, which is the worst thing we could do as parents. We got to put them out there and be there for them. I love you. I'm here for you. I support you. I believe in you. I'm proud of you. Let's go do it. What do you want to do, son? What do you want to do, daughter? Is it this, or do you want to go here? Let's help guide you through this process. We've lost all disconnect from that as a coach and as a parent, and there's a huge gap that needs to be filled.
No, and I love everything that you just said. And one thing I do want to expand on is towards the end is it really is, hey, I love you. It is okay. Baseball is a game of failure, right? We're going to fail in life, and it's okay to do that. Life is more than baseball, and that's something that I think a lot of people lose sight of, especially as you mentioned before. Perfect game and all these big money grabs, right? We'll charge. You can spend upwards of $40,000-$50,000 a year just to play youth baseball, and what that does to a parent is it creates this pressure of, hey, why are you not performing on the field for all the money I'm investing in you? And that puts unnecessary pressure on the kid. At the end of the day, baseball is this small little clip of life that you're going to be done playing by 43 years old if you are the best at what you do.
32 ever. For me.
Let's say that one more time.
32 for me.
32 for you. You were 32 years old, and that's pretty freaking good. And it's unbelievable. It's better than 1% of the entire world. You're in that 1%. So I would love to, for both of y'all, actually, because you're both on the same page as am I, on the mental health aspect, is talking about how the baseball is a vehicle for mental health, but it is not the end game. And if we fail on the field, it is okay. And you've heard me, Aaron, as a coach, say, hey, your parents still love you, your dog still loves you, you're still going to school tomorrow, things are going okay. Just because you struck out in this game, the world is not ending. The world will continue, and you are still very loved. Because at the end of the day, baseball doesn't matter that much. We love baseball, and we use it as a vehicle to teach. But at the end of the day, if it's not baseball, and I have a 4-month-old son, and if he wants to play baseball, great. I'm pretty confident I can provide him with good coaching, whether by myself or my network, right? If he wants to do that. But if he'd rather dance or go do chess or go do anything else, hey, as long as we are working hard and we're learning the life lessons that come with it, that about the work ethic that goes into it, that to me is the most important aspect of it. And so I'd love to hear both of y'all's thoughts on the fact that, yeah, it's sports, as you mentioned, Aaron, it's all a vehicle, but it's, it's life matters. Baseball doesn't.
Yes, but for a young person, baseball or whatever they love the most is everything. It is everything because they don't have the experience to track what does and doesn't matter. And so for us to say that to them doesn't resonate. Like, hey, yeah, you may have struck out, but it doesn't really matter. Well, that doesn't hit hard with them because it matters for them in that moment. It was literally their whole life. And so just expressing these things over and over and over and over and over again, because if they're 11, 12, 13, 14, they're probably not going to get it at that moment, but they will get it at 16, 17, and 18. And some of those light bulbs will start to click off, and they'll start to understand these things a bit better because they'll have experienced more in their life. And so it's important for kids to have that thing that means a lot to them. It is, because they need something to gravitate towards. And yes, Their self-esteem is wrapped up in this thing, but we can start to work on that and unravel that. But that happens through good coaching, and that's majority of the issue. It's not the kids. Yes, the cell phone is a huge issue, but that's not going away anytime soon. And technology is only getting faster, and that's something we all have to deal with individually. But appropriate amounts of coaching and having coaches that embody the right values and behaviors, kids then start to pick those up. They're very impressionable, and they will do what you do. If you throw a bucket of baseballs after your kid makes an error, they're going to throw their pencil after they get a bad grade on a test. Yes, the two are unrelated, you think, school, baseball, but they see someone they admire doing something after something goes wrong, they will do the same thing. And then their mom wonders why they're angry all the time. Well, that's what coach does. And so it's really up to the coaches, which we say all the time is a huge honor and responsibility to be a coach. You have to take it seriously because you have someone's life in your hands. You have their mental health. You have their life in your hands. And so you have to, like Shea was saying, deeply integrate yourself and your whole self into being a coach so you can present and embody the values that your kids can take away with, regardless if they play baseball or not. Because what they're doing, baseball or football or dance or chess, is everything to them, and we have to treat that as such, and then be able to express those values in a way that they can see that there's different avenues that they can take as they gain more experience on and off the field.
I agree with that, Aaron, and it all comes back to with what I've experienced myself and what I've seen with the thousands of people I've coached that are adults, that they're not able to present the best version of themselves because they haven't dealt with those internal challenges, because we see that as a weakness. Mm-hmm. We see that as I can't be vulnerable. I can't share what's going on because now they won't see me as this person, because inherently inside myself, I think I'm the biggest worthless piece of crap in the world. That's why I have the habits and the rituals I do. That's why I'm overweight. That's why I'm drinking. That's why my diet's unhealthy. That's why I don't exercise. That's why I'm not faithful. I don't know how to be faithful to my wife. That's why I don't know how to show up and communicate with my kids, because they deal with that stuff themselves. So we're all like beating a dead horse if we all think that that way. But for the failure, like if somebody strikes out, I can't tell them it's no big deal. It's all right, because now I'm training them to think that whenever they go through adversity, oh, it's no big deal. It's all right. What I'm going to do and what I do is I teach them how to navigate that failure. Okay, how do we analyze what happened? Right? If I have a failure, I have to get back to my emotional center ASAP. When we fail or we go through diversity, it sends out an emotional reaction. And that emotional reaction we have is negative, and it sends out a chemical through our body that will go and dissipate within 90 seconds. If you sit and learn how to manage that chemical feeling within that 90 seconds, boom, you're rocking it, man. I have to get back to my emotional center ASAP. Damn it. God, I threw so much stuff, man. I got kicked off my junior high team. I was kicked off my high school team. I was kicked off my junior college team. I got in fights with managers 5 or 6 times a year, pulled out of games in the minor leagues. I got kicked out by umpires 7 or 8 or 9 times because I was so pissed off from failing that it affected my performance ultimately as I went up the ladder. But I knew once I got to the major league level, I couldn't act that way because I'd be out of there. So I had to learn real quick how to navigate a failure without taking away that competitive edge, that's something that separates you. Like, I'm going to beat you, right? So it's not like, oh, it's no big deal. Some people they might resonate with, but for the vast majority, it's like, okay, how do we navigate failure? Get back to your emotional center, analyze that failure. Did I swing at a strike? Was I on time? Did I swing too hard? Not the mechanics of my swing. Not did I get my foot down? Did I keep my shoulder on the ball? Did I get my scapula up? Did I load my hands properly? No. The two main things that we got to focus on when we're in the batter's box is timing and swinging at strikes. What is timing and swinging at strikes? Mindset. It's nothing else. It's what state of mind you're in. It's psychology. 80% of the success in the batter's box as a hitter is psychology. 20% is mechanics. So why do all these coaches teach mechanics when it has 20% of the chance of you having success? 80% is psychology. What is that? The state of mind that I'm in. What state of mind? Am I ready to go? Am I focused? And then do I have self-confidence? Those 3 things: state of mind, focus, and self-confidence. If I have that, I have myself a chance to be on time. If I have that, I have a chance to be on time and swing a strike. And I could take the worst swing in the world, and if I'm on time and if I swing a strike, there's a very high percentage that I'm going to have success with whatever I'm trying to do. So I got to extract information from that failure. I got to formulate a new game plan, and I got to go deploy it. That's how you master a skill set, because skill sets have utility. So navigating failure, performing under pressure, being able to have a teamwork, being able to understand how to pivot, being able to understand, you know what? I got drafted to shortstop. I failed at shortstop. I had 14 years in my first 10 games at pro ball. Do you want to play first and third base? Yes, sir. Never played first base ever. So I'm playing first and third base. Got player of the year. Hey, do you want to learn how to catch? Yes, sir. I'm going to the big leagues. I learned how to catch. I tore my ACL, went back down another level. You got to learn how to pivot. Then I went to big league camp as a catcher. Then I make that camp as a starting third baseman for the Red Sox. These kids don't know how to pivot because they say, if I don't play here, I'm not going to do this. Why? Because the parents are enabling them. Why? Because the parents don't make them take out the trash. The parents don't make them make their bed. The parents don't want to upset their child because their child's going through so much stuff in this world. Like the dichotomy between the field with the coaches and home with the parents is so far off from the reality of what's out there in the real world that at the end of the day, the player suffers. And what are we doing at the end of the day? 0.05% of high school kids in the United States, 3 million, play pro ball. 0.05%. High school kids play pro ball. Why can't we get that statistic in our mind? Why can't a coach or a parent get that statistic in our mind? 0.05% of 3 million kids play pro ball. Of that 0.05%, 4% make it to the big leagues. And of that 4% of the 0.05%, 13% become an all-star in the big leagues. 13% of the 4% of the 0.0. Bro, you have a better chance of winning the lottery than becoming an all-star in the major leagues. I did that, and I walked on at a junior college. I was a 2-time all-star third baseman. I have zero clue how to field a ground ball. What did I do? I went to Omar Vizquel. I went to Nomar Garciaparra. How do I field a ground ball, dude? I went to A-Rod. How do you field Jeter? How do you field a ground ball? Kids got to be a student of the game. How do you become a student of the game? You have to have enough self-confidence in yourself that you can ask people for help. These kids don't know how to ask for help. And then they're yes men. Yeah. Whatever. Yeah. What do you mean? Yeah. Like, let's just go out there and apply it. So I had 4 steps to field a ground ball. Number 1, read the ground ball for speed, location, and hop. Number 2, set up for the ground ball. Right, left, pick it. Step 3, keep my feet moving towards my target. Step 4, pick up my target and throw. Step 1, read the ground ball. Step 2, set up for it. Step 3, get my feet moving. Step 4, pick up my target and throw. I made it that simple. However, my talent and my ability and my processors and my ability to read the ground ball, my reaction time, all that, since I had a simple 4-step process, that was able to kick in. But these kids are, you got to funnel the ground ball. I don't know what you're talking about because we never field a ground ball with 2 hands. You field a ground ball with 1 hand. You put your throwing hand down next to it just to pick it and move it. You don't field a ground ball with 2 hands. That doesn't make sense. So now you're locking a kid up by getting him so technical. Get down in this position. Do this, do that. How about getting a kid, read the ground ball? Let yourself read it. Now you're taking a kid out of the 80 percentile and letting his ability and his talent and what he has inherently that God gave him kick in and go out there and do what he needs to do to go to the next level. Another example is I walked down at my junior college and they put all the infielders at shortstop. And they did his drill where they had a jugs radar gun and you had to throw from short to first base. And see how hard you throw. Whatever that is, it doesn't matter because I played with Omar Vizquel. He never threw a ball hard once. I never seen a dude ever throw a ball hard ever. He just got it there just before the runner got there. So anyways, we're doing this drill, and I had a decision after I threw the ball with 40 other kids out there. I separated myself because I went up to the coach after I did the drill my freshman year. And I said to the coach, I said, hey, how hard did I throw? And he's like, oh, you threw 84. Then I had another decision to make. See, life's about decisions. So many kids don't make decisions. They don't ask the right questions. Right? So what I did is I said, who threw the hardest? And he went down his little clipboard and he said, oh, Brett Lockwood threw the hardest. He threw 91. I had a third decision to make. I'm going to beat that son of a gun next year. What did I do after the season? I went to my local high school where I went to high school. I had a bucket of balls and I went to the racquetball court. I threw the ball against the racquetball court 300 times a day. The further I got away, I wanted to make sure my throw was accurate because if it was accurate, it'd come directly back to me. If I threw the ball low, it'd go off to the side. If I threw the ball high, it'd come off over here. I didn't want the ball to go over there because I want to chase it. So I inherently learned how to, I want the end result, the ball coming back to me. So I learned how to get the right arm angle, the right action, whatever it needed, the right arm strength. And I just I made a pact with myself, throw 300 balls a day. I live in Arizona, 120 degrees out, 300 balls. Cold, 300 balls. Party, 300 balls. Hang out, 300 balls. Sick, 300 balls. Everything, 300 balls. I went my sophomore season at the junior college. We did the same stupid drill. I threw it, and they're like, wow. I said, how hard I throw? I threw 94. I went through 84 to 94 by making a commitment of mastering the little things, of showing up every single day to throw 300 balls. I didn't have a video analysis. I didn't have a throwing coach. I didn't have a strength program. I didn't have the jugs, the shoulder exercises, all that. I didn't have any of that stuff. I was a sophomore in college at 19 years old, and I just threw the ball 300 times a day. So since I threw 94 from 84, I threw harder than everybody else by far. Two things happened. I gained the respect from my teammates and my coaches, and it gave me a chance to get looked at by recruiters. What did I do? I showed up every single day. These kids don't want to show up every single day because they hate the feeling that they get when they show up every single day. The last thing is, my sophomore season, I led the offensive categories, 5 of the 8 offensive categories in hitting in junior college for Arizona. I was the number 1 player in Arizona. I walked on at the junior college 2 years before. I became the number 1 player. I had 28 of the 30 scouts teams, because there was 30 teams when I played, sit at my kitchen table. 28 of the 30 teams sat at my kitchen table. And they all said the same thing. And what they said was, you're the only player in Arizona that we scouted that ran hard from home to first every single time. That running hard from home to first doesn't get you to hit 300 in big leagues. Doesn't get you paid $20 million. I have the goosebumps right now. That does not get you to a D1 school. It does not get you to the opportunities that you think on the top of the world. But what it does is it opens people's eyes that are in the position to make a decision on your career. What are you doing day in and day out to put yourself in a position to separate yourself from the pack? In Little League, it's about participation, right? We all get participation trophies. That's the way it's gone now. In middle school, it's about preparation. What are we doing to prepare ourselves at the middle school or junior high level to prepare ourselves for high school? I'm preparing myself to make the JV team, the freshman team, the JV team, or the varsity team. It's all about dedication, right? High school is about dedication. I'm showing up for 5 a.m. workouts. I'm showing up to do the extra work. I'm dedicating myself to put up the numbers. College, it's about separation. When you're in college, it's about separation. That's what we got to think about. And then when you go to the pro ball in the big leagues and to be an all-star, have success at the highest level, it's about concentration. It shifts from separation to concentration. What are you doing on a daily basis to master this? If we focus on mastering the mindset, guys, which takes zero talent, but it's difficult to do now because we have to shift from a generalized focus to a specific focus with these players. We have to stir up the hunger to get them to move, to want to go out there and put themselves in a position to fail every day. I'm sorry, failing every day sucks. Failing every day sucks. Striking out, getting out, it's not a good feeling. You have to love it. So it's my duty as a coach, for one, to be able to stir up that hunger to keep the kids going. If I'm yelling at a kid other than his attitude or effort, if I'm yelling at a kid, I'm a freaking idiot, because the game's going to beat these players up enough. This game will beat you up, chew you up one side, chew you down the other side. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're the number one prospect at a PG tournament. I don't care if there's 80 scouts there. I don't care. You are going to get chewed up and spat out. At some point in time, other people are going to be as good as you or better. What's going to get you to understand how to separate yourself and maintain and be able to compete and be able to have success at the highest level when people are as good as you or better? It's mindset. That's where it's at. What's the number one thing that we could transfer from baseball to real world? Mindset. But most people in the baseball space, especially at the youth level, don't understand how to work the mindset for themselves and how to tap into that extra 20 or 30% that we're capable of doing. And they don't know how to teach it. That's why they just touch on it and they just go back to physical and skill sets, like you're saying. How do I train a skill set? It's mindset. It's not about going out there and hitting a line drive to the back of the cage. It's about a 4-step process I think about on the batter's tee. Direction, ball, achieve my load, feel. If you did that, bro, in college, you would have been able to go to the next level. You just didn't understand that because you didn't have that information. You're thinking about hitting line drives. I'm thinking about what do I need to focus on to be able to ingrain this feeling into my nervous system, and be able to go out there and pull that feeling out when I compete in the game because I have confidence. I have confidence, and my intuition will kick in. In the game, I'm not thinking about anything else other than 3 things in the batter's box. When do I start? Read the pitch and react. A swing is 100% reaction. What is a reaction? All my muscles in my body have to be loose, have to be relaxed. And when I read that pitch, my eyes transmit the information to my brain. My brain processes it super quick, and it tells me to launch. But all these kids are focused on the wrong things. Therefore, they're focused on mechanical aspect. They don't focus on reading the pitch. When I read the pitch, it has to be a relaxed, soft focus like the lion in the weeds with his eyes fixated on the antelope. He's not focused on the antelope. He's got a soft, relaxed, his body's in a position to launch. He's hunched down on his back end because all of his torque and energy on his back end. And he's low to the ground so he can jump off really quick. He has a relaxed focus on that one specific muscle on the antelope's shoulder. And once that muscle twitches, he pounces. If he's looking at the whole antelope and the antelope moves, that's too late. And he's not going to eat that night. So inherently, he knows that if I have a relaxed focus in the position I need to launch on that one specific tiny muscle, and he's just focused on that, boom, he's eating supper, and he's still the king of the jungle. I don't know why they call it the jungle, because they live in the desert. The lions don't live in the jungle. Tigers live in the jungle. Sorry, I'm like Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter. I love animals. So if I'm in that batter's box, I have to be in an athletic and comfortable position in my stance. There's no perfect stance ever. I tried it. I've swung a baseball bat 1,000,000 times. You cannot achieve a perfect stance. Why are we trying to teach a perfect stance? Because we don't have the information and the wherewithal of how to do it. I have to be relaxed. I have to be athletic and comfortable in my stance. My shoulders have to be relaxed. I can't have one tense muscle in my body. 2 things we can focus on to be able to keep us, because we get anxiety. We get nervous. All the lights on us. 40,000. Your mom's a whore. You're an idiot. Your wife's a slut. You suck. F you, Shay. Boom, boom, boom. You get this all the time in New York. So if I have myself relaxed, I'm breathing and creating a little bit of movement. 8 out of 10 youth players, their shoulders are tense. If your shoulders are tense, your movement's going to be rotational, and your swing's going to break down, and you're going to be late. You're going to be late, and you're going to think you're early. Like, it's the whole philosophy is all backwards, man. It's super simple. I can get a flipping bum off the streets to hit a freaking ball in the batting cage. It's that simple. I could teach a mom to teach their kid how to freaking focus in the batting cage to go out there and have fun. It's super simple. So when I'm in that batter's box, I don't have my focus on Mariano Rivera. I have my focus on his arm. That's it. A soft focus on a specific spot on his arm. I'm not looking at Mariano Rivera, because if I shift my focus, if I allow my focus to shift from his hand or his arm to his face, I'm done. Because I realize, holy crap, I'm facing Mariano Rivera right now. My chances from 1% go down to 0%. That's what you see with guys in the major leagues that can't consistently hit. They don't know how to train that focus. Or the guys that are in AAA. There's so much more talent in AAA than the big leagues, but they can't get there because they don't know how to do this. I just learned how to do it because I went out there so many times, and I put myself in a position to fail to do it over and over and over again. So at what point in time in Mariano, because Mariano comes out of the stride, when his hand comes out of his glove and starts to come up, that's when I tell myself to start. First thing is start. When do I start? When a soft focus there. And I instantly switch my focus to reading the pitch. So I started my swing, I loaded my stride, which has nothing to do with my swing. That's getting ready to be in that position like that lion, getting ready to pounce. I'm getting myself in a position naturally. My body knows how to do it because I've done the training. So now I'm reading the pitch. I have to read the pitch within the first 20 feet out of the pitcher's hand. That's when I read the pitch. I can't read in the second 20 feet, from 20 to 40 feet, is how long it takes me to process the information. And 20 feet, 40 feet to 60 foot, home plate to 20 feet out, I cannot read it, process it, and put a swing on it. It's physically, humanly impossible. Your swing's going to break down. You're going to be late, and it's look like you're jumping out there. You're not going to be able to stay back. Your body, your mind's going to be like, go. You got to go, or else you're not going to hit it. So I'm not in a position to hit. So it's when do I start? Read the pitch and react to that antelope when I see that little muscle on his shoulder twitch. The philosophy, the concept is so flipping simple. And what I've learned through the process of working with so many people, this is what I learned. Simple doesn't sell. Simple is what's needed. Simple is what these kids need because they don't really have the cognitive thinking to have a complex problem, math equation thrown at them. So now they just try to do it and they just fail and fail and fail. And they're constantly trying to find their swing. How do I know what to work on in my swing if I don't know my swing? How do I know what to work on or what I want in my life if I don't know who I am? So you're dealing with coaches that don't know who they are. You're dealing with the players that don't know their swing. And they're going out there consistently failing over and over and over again. And the byproduct of that is where I am stuck, is what keeps me awake every single night. Is the byproduct of that is the player saying, I'm no good. I'm an effing idiot. I effing suck. And I'm just going to go here to escape because the place that I love baseball, I can't get the same feeling there as I get here because they don't know how to teach me. See, they can get the same feeling on a baseball field that they get here because swinging a bat is hit after hit, right? I can get a dopamine hit over and over and over again. I could take 100 swings in the cage in 15. I have the goosebumps again. I could take 100 swings in the cage in 15 minutes and get the same dopamine hit that they get here. But they won't do it because they don't know the process. Direction, ball, achieve my load, feel. So I'm filing a feel in my file cabinet when I train. And when I go on the field, my eyes just reads that pitch, and if the pitch is in the same location as when I work on it off the tee, my mind goes into my file cabinet and just pulls out that swing that I train in the cage because I've ingrained that feeling into my nervous system. What happens is these coaches micromanage every single swing that these kids take, that these kids are relying on the coach to give them the feedback, so they're not really thinking. So if you're not thinking, if you're not present, they're not filing that feeling of that swing into their nervous system. And when they go in the game, they can't pull it out because they have nothing to pull out.